I want to come back to you on customer experience in a minute, because I think we're starting to touch on that. But before we do, from your perspective, what are the key components of creating a really good, strong story that it becomes memorable and resonates with customers?
Well, I think just to pick up on the authenticity conversation, really, and it actually does pick up on the fact of how do you get the internal staff to galvanise behind it. And for me, authenticity is the key thing to any storytelling convention, because I'm not a creative director who uses many long words. And I often talk about the fact that we surround ourselves with friends that we trust, and we will go on a journey of life with these friends, the ones that stick with us for all of our lives, potentially. And what makes that happen? Well, authenticity, trust, okay? Now, in the world of B2B, we're actually building a circle of trust with a business that's going to affect many more people than just yourself. So you actually need that friend and your friends to start to unite for that to work properly. So I think that's like authenticity for me. If it isn't true and your staff don't believe in it and they don't galvanise behind it, you kind of don't stand a chance. To answer your question, David, about what makes a great storytelling piece of work, for me, I've heard the word resonate, and I've heard the word relevance today. I'm often in the conversation which is, well, is it this one or that one? Well, it's absolutely both. So relevance, the data that we're capable of mining now, we can definitely find the relevance in the audience we're talking to, but then we've got to make something stick. We've got to make something that opens people's eyes. And when we talk about disruption, what you often find that happens, and Dave Trott does a fantastic talk on this, which is actually everybody starts to yin when everybody else is yanging, and then actually what happens is they flip over, and then all of a sudden everybody's following each other. So it's not a story in the convention of a traditional story. There is no end for me. You know, when you think about what happens in a good story, when I was growing up, it was always there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you think about how campaigns live now, there is definitely a beginning, there is definitely a middle. That middle, though, for me, keeps going. And then you have this loop towards the end, which is how do I keep that interest? How does that story change? I like this thought of living ideas, that we create campaigns that can live and breathe and change with the audience that we're talking to. So when we see them change, platform, we can go to platform, because again, not to be that complicated creative director, I personally think a great idea sits on a post-it note. And if all of us don't understand that idea from that post-it note, then we won't survive. So that's, I think, in a long-winded way, answers some of the questions.
We all like post-it notes and creative spaces.
So we started to touch on the topic of customer experience a minute ago. Storytelling and customer experience, how important from your perspective is storytelling as an ingredient of that idea of driving a healthy customer experience?
I think it's crucial, especially this topic about authenticity that you just spoke about, because if you're not authentic, it could potentially damage your brand. So, you know, I work for Dell Technologies. Our mission statement is we enable technologies to enable human progress. That is how smart cars become autonomous vehicles, how telesurgery enables better care for people, how digital cities will improve and revolution our lifestyles. But that's about also doing it in a sustainable way, but also about driving diversity and inclusion. And that's a key tenet to our DNA across the organization. And that's something which our CEO is driving as the fabric of our organization. And if that's not true, then that could damage it. And, you know, we kind of set ourselves some really key goals around that. So especially around sustainability, the one thing that unites all the products that we have is they've got our founder's name on it. He does not want to be seeing someone that fills landfill. So this year we've recycled or regained like £2 billion of tech. We've set a goal that by 2030, every product that is bought by a customer we will reuse or recycle a product. For diversity and inclusion, we've made a goal that by 2030, 50% of our worldwide employees will be female. In the US, 25% will be Black or Hispanic minorities. A goal to say 50% of our staff will support employee resource groups, which is giving back to society at large. Now, that is driven through the fabric of our organisation. I mean, for me, I've supported the Prince's Trust through work. We supported their Millionaire Makers program, where over the last 7 years we've raised 1.5 million for the Prince's Trust. I also support the Transformation Trust, so doing some mentoring work with them. All you're empowered to do this in your staff, and if you're not that authentic about the way you're trying to drive that across your organisation, that could damage the brands. And there's 2 examples where this doesn't work, where you're not empathetic to situations. And you just need to think about McDonald's. They had an advert about a fillet of fish and a child that had just been bereaved by their just lost their father, and the mother saying, well, this will cheer you up as in a fillet of fish. Now that's not empathetic. It's not really authentic either. And that's, they had to pull the advert. It damaged their brands. And the other one is Pepsi. So you had Kendall Jenner taking a can of Pepsi to a policeman, and the backlash across social media that they were marginalising the fact. So the message was about driving, togetherness, peace across society, and they thought they just marginalised the people when they want to protest against things or social inequality, and that marginalised that, and that damaged Pepsi. So it's okay if you're authentic, but if you're not empathetic to situations and you're really trying to drive it just to drive engagement, that could actually be detrimental of your brand and the values.
Sakina?
Yeah, for me, customer service is key, right? I mean, customer service is the backbone of any company. Good customer service creates customer loyalty, advocacy, and then obviously and we all know that it's easier to retain customers than to get new ones. So financially as well, like companies that actually have a good customer service and lots of loyal customers, they are really, really financially strong and growing. I have a really strange example of a small customer service. I ordered something from eBay. I ordered a small box of something, and it didn't get delivered on time. And I went on eBay and I said, I had a party, I needed to serve it, it didn't get delivered. And the very next day, they sent me 20 of those boxes in a box saying, with a big sorry on it. Wow. I was like, that's brilliant. I didn't even have to pay for it. That's brilliant customer service. And I never buy anything from eBay. I actually, just said, because it's available. It's amazing, what the small company did. And probably I'm going to be customer for life. I did not. I mean, I'm saying this in front of the camera and in front of all of you. I've told all my friends that. And I said, you got to buy from them.
So because you missed the party, did you then put it back on eBay and sell it?
No, I did not. No, okay. I'm going to consume it for a Christmas party, But it's all about making sure. And I was very disappointed. And, I'm not that type of person who would go on social media and post that I was completely disappointed or I didn't like this coffee shop. My coffee was too hot or too cold. I was really disappointed because I was looking forward to it. And it was serving my, guests. It didn't come. And I was like, well, actually, they put the address wrong and it went back to them. So they sent me another box the very next day, delivered by somebody who works for the company and saying big sorry on that. And it's amazing, right? I love it. And, I want all the brands that I engage with as a customer to do the similar service.
Well,
right?
then you become earned content in that sense, don't you? Because you'll now be a strong advocate of that company online.
Exactly.
So that becomes really good earned content for them because you've reviewed them well.
Yeah.